All right. This set of notes is going to cover Operation Barbarossa. So this is basically Hitler's going to fail to conquer Britain. All right, so where we left off in Europe is that Hitler is unable, through the Blitz, through the Battle of Britain, unable to gain air superiority over Britain, and through the um, trying to bomb them into submission, and then the battle trying to starve them out. He's unable to conquer Britain, even if the Battle of the Atlantic is going to keep going on, but that would take a while anyway. So what's he going to do next? He's pretty much already taken over all of Europe. We've talked about this. We established this, that he's gotten control over pretty much everything. All right. So where does he go from here? All right, well, he's going to do exactly what he said he would do. Operation Barbarossa. I don't know why I got to say it like that. Hitler is going to expand his living space to the east. All right, and so this is for those of you that did the Hitler assignment where we talked about the Lebensraum. He is going to fulfill it. Everything he said he was going to do in his book, he's going to do. May of 1941, Hitler is going to halt the bombings of British cities. He's going to turn his attention to the Soviet Union. Wait a minute, I thought he had a non-aggression pact with Stalin. Yeah, Stalin thought the same thing. Hitler's going to betray Stalin, and he's going to launch a surprise attack on the Soviet Union. He's going to do a full reversal. And by November of 1941, the Germans have advanced. They advanced very far because the Soviets are taken aback. And Hitler, the Soviets had plenty of knowledge of this, but Stalin just thought there's no way Hitler would go back on his word. He wouldn't attack me. He wouldn't attack me. And so the Soviets are really caught off guard when the Germans do decide to attack. All right. And this is the one thing that Hitler didn't want to do initially, was get the Soviets involved. Because if he can't take out the Soviet Union, they're in the same predicament. Now, it's a little different because obviously you can see he's got pretty much control over all of Europe. But they're going to be in the same predicament where they're going to have to fight on one side of the war and fight on the other side. They're going to be pitted in a two-front war. So this is a huge gamble that Hitler is going to take. Encouraged to not necessarily do it, but he was convinced. He thought that Hitler's going to have a bunch of paranoia set in. He thought that maybe Britain wasn't surrendering because they had an alliance with the Soviet Union. I don't know. There's all sorts of reasonings why, but they are going to advance, and they get right on the outskirts of Moscow. They get right on the outskirts. They get all the way to here. They take Leningrad, and then they just get all the way to here, so that they make a ton of gains in the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union, what Stalin tells everybody to do is just burn everything and retreat. He tells everybody, make sure the Germans can't resupply with anything that we have, burn everything to the ground and retreat. And they retreat pretty much all the way to Moscow. The rainy October season, and then the winter is going to set in. The rainy season makes it difficult for the Germans to advance. They thought they could get Moscow quicker, and they almost do. They get right on the outskirts. But then a harsh winter is going to settle in, and they just don't have the supplies. They're not equipped for the harsh winter. It's the same mistake. This is the same mistake that happens in World War I, where they get pitted in a two-front war. But Hitler should have done a little war history. Same thing happened to a European dictator named Napoleon. He tries to do the same thing. Take over Russia, and then the winter sets in because they have very harsh winters. And the harsh winter is going to set in. The Germans, they're going to start, their supplies are going to start to dwindle, and that's going to really keep them from taking Moscow. That's going to be a huge part. And so in early World War II, you would think that the Axis powers are going to basically win this war. Right, you can see this is all just Nazi-controlled territory. They're right on the outskirts of Moscow. They're deep in Soviet territory. They have complete control of Europe, of Northern Africa. They've got the upper hand in the Soviet territory. And we haven't even talked about, depending when we talk about this, or when you're listening to this, we would have talked about the U.S. just lost their entire Pacific fleet at Pearl Harbor. So the Japanese have the upper hand in the Pacific. The Nazis have the upper hand in Europe. Things look bad. But despite these early successes, the Axis powers would never again enjoy such a strong position. We're going to dive into a few key turning points. We're going to do an assignment where we analyze several key turning points that are going to take place, one of which is going to be Stalingrad. That's going to be a big one in the Soviet Union. But we'll talk about several key turning points that are going to turn the tide for the Allies, in favor of the Allies, and help them reverse the course and win the war.